Well, good evening, good morning, good afternoon, global population, some fish are here. What a gorgeous clear night. Right, it's been a while since I've done a dog walking video, so everyone who hasn't met him before, this is Marley, me, Marley, me. Normally we have the cat with us, but Sixties doesn't want to play out today, so it's just me and the dog. Right, it's just going to be a pretty short one. I had some very interesting posts on the Telegram page today, by both ZZ and Ida on my chats page, about propaganda and the truth movement in general, which is what prompted me to make those that series of 1 minute videos earlier. What ZZ posted was essentially on something I've covered in my media, mind space and manipulation videos, and that's the use of white propaganda, which is essentially just the truth, but used in a way to make whatever target you're targeting. Say, good boy, good lad, good dog, good dog, good boy. No, it's all right, sit down, good boy. Well, he spins around when his car's about. Crazy dog. Anyway, yeah. Basically uses truthful information but spun in such a way that it makes your target look good. That's essentially what it's for. And this can be positive or negative. Even a truth that's negative to a certain party can still be spun in a way to make it look good for you. And it was essentially saying that despite the fact that we can see propaganda and we believe we can spot propaganda, it actually makes us more susceptible to propaganda and the propagandists. In a lot of ways that's very true, it does. Just being able to spot propaganda and being able to spot controlled opposition is only a slight part of it, and it does leave you open to being fooled by propaganda or being fooled by controlled opposition without you even realising, because people always in this game, when they first start out and they start learning about controlled opposition and who they are and what they do, never fully understand who they are and what they do. Yeah. I think I've gone over this so many times, but it does need reiterating and reiterating and reiterating. Controlled opposition speak a heck of a lot of truth. A heck of a lot of truth. And it's this, I'm going to use the same thing I always say, yeah? With them and the system in general, everything is 95% truth and 10% lies, without fail. And before you say, but that's 105%, those of you who know this already, just close your ears for a minute, but it's not 105%. The one thing we know for certain, right, is that it's the information we get is going to have a larger ratio of truth than it does lies, yeah, than it does anything that's false. But we can't possibly know that ratio off just a tertiary glance, yeah. All we know is most of it's going to be true. It's then up to us to figure out how much is true and where the lies are. We piece together everything from that point, from that starting point. So this is why it's 10% lies and not 5% lies, yeah? Because the concept in and of itself is a lie, but it's also true, yeah? You follow? Well, the same can be said of controlled opposition and of propagandists and propaganda organisations. A great deal of what they speak is true, but with a spin, yeah? Which is why I mentioned white propaganda at the beginning, the use of truth. Sometimes, right, and it's not as rare as you think, sometimes they will give us the whole truth. They'll just break it into sections, give it to their embedded agents to deliver to us, and then have us fight over it. That not only discredits certain aspects of the truth that they don't want us to know, in our eyes, yeah, because we don't trust the other person or the other party that's got that other side of the information. It also discredits it from people on the outside looking in, yeah. You look at the whole thing and look at all the infighting and say, well, if there's that much infighting, then none of it can be true, yeah. And this happens more often than you think it does. That was essentially the crux of what ZZ posted. I'd, on the other hand, posted something far more profound, and something else I've been saying a lot, especially lately, and it's about the truth movement in general. The infighting, the hostility to certain concepts and certain ideas, yeah. When someone doesn't agree with something that's being said, or they question someone's theories or motivations, very often they'll get called an idiot or stupid or not awake or any number of like variations on that theme. The thing is, the vast majority of you who believe you're awake are in fact no more awake than the free-range lab mice, yeah, of the general public. You're just asleep in a different way. I liken it to lucid dreaming, where you, instead of not having any sort of choice in the matter of how you're being controlled and manipulated, you instead can choose which way you want to be controlled and manipulated instead. A lot of you fall for the same false information, or get tied into certain ideas and concepts that are best left in the past, really. Because when you actually start looking into them and don't get lazy, which is what a lot of you do, you begin to see holes that become cracks, that become fissures, and then gaping chasms. And you start to see that ideas that you had were never really true. It was just more of the system playing with your head. Again, they'll give you truthful information, but it will be twisted to fit their narrative. Our movement was set up by the system for the system. The sooner people get that into their heads, the better. We are both their greatest tool, most valuable asset, and probably their proudest invention, yeah? Because we create their narratives. They just feed us. They call it gardening, you know, where they plant the seed and we cultivate it, yeah? We develop their narratives, their disinformation for them very often. And we do it without realising. A good example of what I mean is ufology in general, yeah? A good 85-90% of the information that's in the ufological field is false. It's wrong, completely. But it's been in the public mindset and in the public discourse for so long now, and had countless books written on it, by various researchers who've had other researchers use their research and written countless books on it, that now it's become dogma. And that's the main goal of these people. Yeah? The main goal of these people is to get this disinformation as dogma and irrefutable, yeah, in the minds of so many. Another good example is that the Jews rule the world. I've said countless times, that is wrong. Yes, a lot of them are CEOs, right, or in very high positions, but for a start they don't own these companies, yeah. They're paid to run them. There's a difference between ownership and running a company. Yeah? The people who own them aren't Jewish. Most of them are Venetian, Genoan, but most of all Merovingian, yeah? Primarily Scandinavian and French. If you want to know who runs Europe, look at the Wallenberg family. Yeah? Look at the Rudolf family. It's royal lineages, it's always been royal lineages and black nobility. Always. And they're not fucking Jewish. They may use Jews as a scapegoat, and they have done countless times before, and they're likely doing it again. Yeah? But they've done the same with the Templars, with the Catholics, Protestants, Indians, Muslims, you name it. They always find a scapegoat, because when it goes tits up, and it very often does, they take the blame and they can go back into the shadows. Come back out when it's all safe. And they do this all the time. And those mugs fall for it every time. It used to be in the past that we didn't have the same reach or the ability to spread information like we can now. Now we can. And yet we still have the same old arguments and the same old bollocks. If you don't like what I'm saying, tough fucking shit. It's the way it is. Everything you've been told is primarily a lie, yeah? Made by us. Protocols of the Elders of Zion. People keep launching that at me, yeah? It's created by a guy called Theodor Sabottendorf, yeah? Theodor von Sabottendorf in the late 1800s. The guy was massively against the Jewish people, but heavily read into ancient mysticism and everything else. He was the founder of the Thule Society. You know who the Thule Society are. Many of you will. Those who don't, look it up. His protege was Heinrich Himmler, who was given a copy of what Theodor Sabottendorf had written, because not only was he a very well-read mystic, he was also a master forger. He used to forge documents for a living, that's how he made his money. Himmler passed it to Goebbels, who tweaked it here and there a little bit just to fit the Nazi narrative. And then after that, a guy by the name of James Mason, who was the co-founder of the American neo-Nazi movement, was caught handing out leaflets with it on. The FBI got hold of the copy. Instead of arresting him, chucking him in jail, they used him as an asset. From the very day that he founded the neo-Nazi movement, right, in the US, he was an FBI asset. And we know this because I've got all the fucking memos. The FBI have been tweaking it and updating it every 10 years or so to keep track of neo-Nazis and people like us, to keep passing it round. But it's all bullshit. You tweak it to fit the narrative of the day, yeah? The one that's going around at the moment was roughly drawn up in about 2013, 2012, yeah? Don't believe everything you read and everything you see, even if it looks legit. question it. If you don't believe me about the protocols, go on my page. The copy I have in it comes with about 100 memos from the FBI where they're discussing what they're going to do with it. Most of you out there are no better than the free range lab mice. You've just got a bit more free range to run around in. It's time for you all to wake up and grow the fuck up. Anyway, like, share, subscribe, you know the drill. I'll see you later.